Okay, let's just dive right in. We're unpacking an incredible 5-day, 4-night Australian itinerary crafted by RE Travel and Tours. Whether you're a travel agent putting together a trip for a massive group or just an organizer planning an unforgettable adventure, this explainer breaks down everything you need to know. We've got travelers returning to the Philippines in mind here, specifically looking ahead to an August 2026 departure. We're going to cover exactly what defines this dual city tour, from the jaw-dropping daily sights to the, nitty-gritty financial details.
But before we start packing our mental bags, let's map out our agenda really quick. 1. The Tale of Two Cities. 2. Sydney Icons and Nature. 3. Melbourne Culture and Countryside. 4. Logistics and Pricing. And 5. Fine print inclusions and exclusions.
All right, section 1, the tale of two cities. What's so brilliant about this adventure is how it's essentially a journey of two distinct halves. First, you get the gleaming modern harbor of Sydney. It's a city entirely defined by its dramatic coastline, its iconic engineering, and these lush national parks. But then, on day 3, you shift gears entirely to the historic, steam-era charm of Melbourne. You're trading coastal nature for deep-rooted culture, Gothic architecture, and refined countryside. It's literally the best of both Australian worlds wrapped up in one seamless package. Moving right along to Section 2, Sydney, Icons and Nature.
Your very first day is an absolute highlights reel. I mean, there is no waiting around. You literally hit the ground running. Right after arriving, you're taking in panoramic harbor views from Mrs. Macquarie's chair, which is this incredible sandstone bench hand-carved all the way back in 1810. From there, you're snapping photos at the Sydney Opera House, which has actually been a UNESCO World Heritage Site since 2007. Then, you'll gaze up at the massive steel arch of the Sydney Harbour Bridge, affectionately nicknamed the Coat Hanger, finished in 1932. And the day just beautifully rounds out with a walk through the Rocks, Sydney's oldest historic district, dating back to 1788, plus a stroll through the lush Royal Botanic Garden.
But the vibe totally shifts on day 2. You kick off your morning at Featherdale Wildlife Park, and this isn't just looking at animals from behind a massive fence. You actually get the incredible chance to get up close and personal with iconic native species. We're talking koalas, wallabies, and absolutely adorable kangaroos. It's one of the largest collections of Australian native animals in the world. Talk about an unforgettable morning before you head up into the mountains. And speaking of mountains, the absolute peak of your afternoon is the Blue Mountains, which snagged its own UNESCO World Heritage status back in 2000. Now, I want you to picture the number 52. Why? Because you are going to be riding the world's steepest passenger railway, plunging down into the Jamison Valley at a mind-bending 52-degree incline. It is a multi-award-winning, exhilarating descent that literally takes you right through a cliff tunnel. So how exactly do you conquer these dramatic cliffs at Scenic World? Well, it's a beautifully orchestrated sequence. First, you take that crazy steep descent on the Scenic Railway. Next, you transition to the Scenic Skyway, floating a dizzying 270 meters high above the valley with a transparent glass floor looking down at Katoomba Falls. Yeah, not for the faint of heart. Then, you catch your breath on the Scenic Walkway, strolling along a tranquil boardwalk right through an ancient Jurassic rainforest. Finally, you ascend via the Scenic Cableway, traveling 545 meters back up the escarpment.
Okay, Section 3, Melbourne, Culture and Countryside. Boom, you land in Melbourne, and the culture hits you instantly. Among the stunning 1870s aesthetics of Parliament House and the vibrant energy of Federation Square, you're going to be totally awestruck by St. Patrick's Cathedral. It breaks records as the absolute largest cathedral in Australia and is a pioneering masterpiece of Gothic Revival architecture. It completely sets the tone for a city that deeply values its history. Over days 3 and 4, we're doing this perfect balancing act between city heritage and a glorious countryside escape. You'll wander through Fitzroy Gardens, a National Heritage Site boasting over 150 years of history, and explore Melbourne Chinatown, which is actually one of the oldest in the world. Then, on day 4, you head out to the Dandenong Ranges to ride the iconic Puffing Billy steam train through lush forests. That whole nostalgic ride leads right into the Yarra Valley, Victoria's first wine-growing region. You'll be sipping premium wines in a region that has over 80 spectacular wineries, before capping the whole thing off at the famous Chocolaterie and Ice Creamery. Truly a feast for all the senses. All right, let's get down to business. Section 4, Logistics, Hotels and Pricing.
For all you planners out there, the tour provides some really excellent flexibility. Your group can choose between super reliable 3-star comfort or an elevated 4-star experience. In Sydney, you're looking at the Ibis World Square or the 4-star Holiday Inn Potts Point. In Melbourne, it's either the Ibis Central or the 4-star Travelodge Hotel Docklands. These are internationally recognized rock-solid brands perfectly located to keep you right in the heart of the action.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting for organizers. There's an inverse relationship between your group size and your cost. If you have, say, 15 to 19 people, the 4-star package sits at $1,511 Australian dollars per person. But if you jump up to a group of 25 to 29 people, that exact same 4-star experience drops to $1,292 per person. The logic is super clear. The more friends or clients you bring along, the cheaper this premium experience becomes. Keep in mind, these prices are based on twin sharing, and there are standard single supplements if someone in your group really wants their own room.
Almost done. Section 5. Fine print. Inclusions and exclusions.
Radical transparency time. When you're planning, knowing the dividing line between inclusions and out-of-pocket costs is absolutely vital. Your hotels, your daily 10-hour tourist coach transport, attraction entrance fees, and listed meals, fully covered in that base price. However, it is imperative to remember that flights, both your international flights to Australia and that domestic hop from Sydney to Melbourne, are entirely out of pocket. The same goes for your Australian entry visas, travel insurance, and mandatory tips.
Let's zoom in on those tips and extras just a bit more because you do not want surprises here. You have a required $3 per day for the driver and $7 per day for the guide per guest. And here is the kicker. There is a strict 7 p.m. cutoff for your coach and guide. If your group decides they want to linger over that delicious Yarra Valley wine and runs late, you're going to incur a pretty steep hourly overtime rate, $170 an hour for the coach and $70 an hour for the guide. So planners, definitely factor that into your daily schedules.
And just like that, we're at day 5. Things are kept beautifully simple on your final morning. You'll just enjoy a nice breakfast at your Melbourne hotel before your dedicated coach provides a seamless, stress-free transfer right to the airport for your flight back home to the Philippines.
And that is the whole shebang. Armed with this thrilling daily itinerary and the clear financial realities of the sliding scale pricing, the only real question left is deciding who you're going to invite so you can unlock the best possible group rate. So, which side of Australia is calling your name the loudest? The sun-drenched heights of Sydney's coastal cliffs or the historic, wine-soaked charm of Melbourne's countryside? Think about it, get your group together, and start planning that 2026 adventure today.